Thank you for coming to the first Lucy Hobbs Project Meetup Party.
Do you want me to hang here?
Yeah. We are very excited. We have some special guests tonight. We have Katie Mailar, we have Dr. Pamela Marsban, we have editor of Forbes magazine, Randall Lane. So there's a lot of people here for you to meet tonight, but I just wanted to start by just telling you all why we're here. So my name is Rachel Pugh. I'm the Branding and Communications Manager at Banco Dental. And we're having tonight's party to kind of kick off the new season of the Lucy Hobbs Project and to make some announcements about next year. Also want to give a shout out before we start though to our new VP of Marketing, Terry Barrett. He's in the house. So just a couple of updates before I ask Chuck Cohen to come up to the podium. But I just wanted everyone to know that we held a very successful event this year. It was our very first Lucy Hobbs Project U event, YLU. It was held at a university at Detroit Mercy in October with the help from Banco TR Michael Paquette, who is also here. The event was fantastic. It really focused on mentorship and networking with the alumni, and which of course, as you know, it really embodies the Lucy Hobbs pillars. We love the event so much that we're going to model that for next year, and we're going to be at universities all across the U.S. in 2018. Also want to let you know the Lucy Hobbs celebration for next year will be moved to September and is in the fantastic city of San Francisco. And we'll be collaborating with Strawman with their digital symposium. We'll also be raising money for the Center for Oral Health. And Leslie, I believe she's here tonight, Leslie Espinola from the organization. If she is here, I definitely encourage you to speak with her. It's a great organization. We will be sending you all a save the date, so if you haven't already, please sign up to be a member for the Lucy Hobbs Project at the LucyHobbsProject.com website. You'll notice tonight there is a Lucy Hobbs Project canvas. If you've seen it in the back, we really encourage you to sign that. We want you to talk about, and just what motivates you in life, whether it's in your career, your personal life, because we're later going to use those canvases for the Lucy Hobbs celebration. There's also a photo booth in the back, so we also obviously encourage you to take some photos. And I'd like to thank our DJ tonight, DJ Chris and DJ Chris. Next, I'd like to bring to the podium, I think you all know him, he's our Managing Director, Chuck Cohen, who's going to tell you a little bit more about tonight's guest speakers.
Thank you, Rachel. Welcome everybody. So before we get started tonight, I wanted to give a great shout out to the team that put this event together. Rachel, Keely, Donna, Allie, Lariah. If you guys could raise your hands and we can give them a round of applause. They did a great job. So, it's my distinct pleasure to introduce our two keynote speakers this evening. Before I do that, I wanted to just say, about 5 years ago, we introduced the Lucy Hobbs Project at Dentistry because we felt we needed, as an organization, to recognize and celebrate the accomplishments of women in dentistry. And when I say women in dentistry, that's conscious. We're not talking about women dentists only. We're talking about all women in dentistry. And we feel that the women of dentistry, whether they're dental dentists, dental team members, staff members, manufacturers, reps, executives at corporations, consultants, coaches, women in dentistry have stories to tell that are worth sharing, that are inspiring, that are about giving back and networking, and to match with what we're talking about for 2018, about moving dentistry forward. The women of dentistry move dentistry forward. So it's my distinct pleasure to introduce the first of our two keynotes, Dr. Pamela Marsban. Dr. Marsban, come on up. She's, in the immortal words of the old hair club for men, she's not just an expert, she's a customer, and she's a customer of Benco herself, and her TR, Kristen Murray, is here tonight, so we're glad about that. Thank you. Dr. Marsban has been in private practice for 16 years and a business owner for 15. She's an assistant professor at Virginia Commonwealth, VCU School of Dentistry, and she's going to talk a little bit about networking, innovation, give back, what it means to be a female entrepreneur. She has been a Lucy Hobbs honoree, and she told me earlier this evening that was really a proud moment for her. So with that, Dr. Marsban, thank you very much.
everybody. Good evening. Chuck, thank you very much. And I just want to say how grateful I am to be here. I had the pleasure of working with the Lucy Oz Project earlier this year when they asked me to write an article for with the title of The Secret of My Success. And we published that in Dental Town magazine. And that was a real pleasure and fun to work with them. And when they asked me to come here tonight and just go over with you guys some of my stories and experience about what it takes to be a female entrepreneur, I just jumped at the chance. And what a beautiful and amazing venue this is. This is hands down the funnest one I've ever been at. So thank you for having me here. But let me tell you guys what, on the way to coming here and preparing for this, it took me way back. You know, I was thinking, I've been doing dentistry for going on 20 years. And I'm sitting there one day working on a patient, and I'm like, wow, I used to know her when she was 5. And I just don't know. Didn't realize that much time has gone by. I mean, I know I go to the hair colorist more often, and I'm buying all this more and more expensive anti-aging creams, but you know, I just didn't realize that much time has flown by. And I realized, you know, in all this time, I can truly look at you guys in the eyes and tell you, I really love what I do. I absolutely love being a dentist. I love my dental team. I love working in my dental office. I love all the cool toys that we have, thanks to Kristen Murray. I will forever be grateful to our profession because it's given me an opportunity to be a doctor and a friend to so many people. So I will forever be grateful to our profession, and I want to see dentistry continue to thrive. So I speak a lot on the business side of dentistry. I do it privately, I do it at conferences, I do it at my old dental school in Richmond. It's the clinical side that I love. I mean, you guys give me like a 4-hour procedure and I'm working with Ad Marie's and I can get lost in it. That's my zen, you know? It's a little weird, but that's just who I am. But I speak on the business side because I think that's the stuff most of us struggle with. That's the stuff that we have to work most on. That's how I feel. So I will do anything I can to help any one of you. I want to see our profession continue to strive, and that's why I'm here. So what's my story? I graduated dental school back in 2000 from the University of Richmond down in Virginia. That's where I'm from. And when I graduated, I don't know if you guys remember this, I mean, business was just booming. It was just everybody that was out already was just killing it. We're near Reston, Virginia, which is very close to the .com industry, and everyone was making an insane amount of money and making it very quickly. And then the real estate market, remember? It was peaking. That bubble was just ready to burst. We know that did. So I thought, okay, here I am getting ready to graduate. My friends are all doing veneers everywhere. Everyone's just killing it. I'm just gonna get out of dental school, be a good person, do good dentistry, and that's all it was gonna take. And so I graduated, and everything started to fall apart. We remember, right? The .com industry started to crumble, the housing bubble burst, and then a lot of other bad things happened that we don't want to remember. So here I am, new graduate Pam. My husband just finished getting his entomology degree from NC State, and you know, he was struggling getting a job because, believe it or not many people are looking for somebody that studies insects. So he's got this amazing degree, but can't do much with it. He says, I want to go to law school. I'm working as an associate, and all of our patients are starting to leave. People don't have money. Not only do they not have any money, but they're in debt, right? So our combined school loans are coming in, husband's starting law school, and here I am. I'm trying to be a good dentist, Pam, do good dentistry, Pam, and nobody wants to really see me. The patients that were in our fee-for-service office started to walk away, right? And then the ones that stayed, they wanted to see the big dentist, not me. So I had to realize very quickly, I need to find a way to make myself stand out. I had to become innovative. And I want to talk about innovation because that's what one of the things, the pillars of the Lucy Hobbs Project, right? They want to empower women in dentistry to create changes and achieve results through innovation, give back, and networking, right? So what is innovation? I want to read the definition, okay? Innovation as a business process consists of identifying market opportunities that lead to the introduction of new products, services, processes, or the modification of current ones. It implies developing capacities and doing away with traditional means of doing business. So if we break it down, it means you don't always have to reinvent the wheel or come up with something new, because dentistry is not new. It's been a service for a long time. Sometimes you just have to create a process that better meets the needs of the existing market. It just has to better meet the needs of the existing market. So, where do you start? Where do I start? Some of us feel like we don't have a creative spark in us. And if you do, you might not have the energy to do anything about it, or maybe not the time. You have kids, you have families. So what do you do? Now, I know this is a cocktail party and we all want to have fun, and I'm going to promise not to make it too heavy. But I want you to, when you leave here, have an introspective look or a moment for yourself, okay? Be raw and honest and ask yourself these 3 questions. What do I want? What's my purpose? What do I want to be known for or remembered by? And how am I going to set myself apart? Because when you ask me what success is, that's a very fluid concept, and it's defined so differently with each one of us. But at the core of any successful person, there has to be meaning. There has to be purpose in what you do. Because when you do that, it doesn't feel like work. They say if you love what you do, you never work a day in your life. I feel that way. I mean, it's work, but it doesn't feel like work. So when you leave here, maybe tomorrow morning, if you don't have a huge headache or anything like that, or maybe you do, maybe you have this new motivation, go somewhere at some point, make a date with yourself. And I do this, I honestly do this. I make a date with myself. Go to a coffee shop, go grab a pencil and paper, or maybe your laptop, whatever floats your boat, and sit back and remember these 3 questions. What do I want? What do I want to be remembered for? And how am I going to set myself apart? Take that time for yourself. Because success is a very fluid concept. So you've got to make that definition for yourself. You just have to be raw and honest and know what your core values are. And that's really where I started. I was like, what are my core values? What's important to me? And I can tell you what mine are. I'll share them with you. Integrity, proactivity, and determination. Integrity, I do things with a moral purpose. I'm honest. Proactive, I want to create change rather than react to an event. And determination, you guys, I'm born in May. I'm a Taurus. I can't help myself. It is my genetic code to be determined, okay? So these 3 traits are the 3 things that drive every decision I make and every action I make. This is inherently who I am, and that's what I have to be true to. And furthermore, everyone on my team has to have these 3 core traits too. You can ask Ed and Marie, she has them. If they don't have those traits, it won't work. Sometimes when I first hire, I might not know, that this person doesn't have it, or maybe they did have it and then things happen, people change. Life can be hard, right? But when I realize that they don't have these 3 things, it just doesn't work. And that's when we have to have that conversation. We have to break up. It's not you, it's me, And it truly is. It doesn't mean they can't be fantastic somewhere else or doing something else. It just means it's not gonna work for me. Because we're 5 women in our office and we literally function like one heartbeat. And if we do not all share these 3 traits, it won't work. Now, every woman in my office, they're totally different. Oh Lord, do they have their opinions, okay? It is a spicy set of us. But I like that type of difference. I want to nurture that creativity. That's what I want, but inherently we have to share these 3 traits. I believe to be an innovator, you really need to have a strong foundation and really understand your core. And then if you understand that and you have a team that shares that same drive and that same passion, now all you need is an idea, right? I wish you guys were all sitting down because I'm going to share with you my idea. You can steal it. You ready? It's the mouth to body connection. I told you, you don't have to reinvent something. I'm not smart enough to invent something new, okay? But just hear me out for a moment. Every person in my office knows that it is completely imperative to me. Every person, every patient that walks in knows how their oral health affects their overall health. They have to have that understanding. Now, I know that's not a new concept. I get that. But what we do is just sometimes in the delivery, instead of telling patients, this is wrong with you, and you need to do this, or you should do this, what we've done is we've created a system of self-discovery. Kind of navigate that patient through a self-discovery, and then help them create a plan with us to help them attain whatever they want to achieve and then maintain it. You don't have to invent something new. You just have to find a method of doing something that better meets that existing market. My services are probably no different than anybody else's here. It's just in how we deliver that to our patients. So now you know what I want my business to be known for and what I want our business to deliver. And I've got this team that completely supports me. And I'm very clear on my core values. Now I just needed to create an environment that's gonna help my team co-create the success of our business. So for me, I was alluding to earlier, yes, we have the same core, but everybody's super different. I like to cultivate that type of environment. I think any innovative thinker surrounds themselves with people who are not afraid to discuss their thoughts and differing opinions. You want to nurture that collaborative creativity because that's what's going to continue to drive the success of your practice. When I don't know if you guys have gone through this, but I feel like every time I interview for a new position in our office, so many of our teams are underutilized and undertrained. That to me is one of the most heartbreaking things in our practices in our business right now. A lot of times assistants come in and they think that their responsibilities end with suctioning and breaking down rooms and setting up rooms. Or our hygienists think, all I have to do is clean teeth. Or our front office just says, I just need to make appointments, collect payment, and just greet the patient. Well, that's when you, again, feel like there's work. I want them to have something meaningful in what they do, to have purpose in what they're doing. As a leader, I do my best to stop talking. I know that's hard to believe right now. This will end. But as a leader, I try my best to stop talking and listen. Because a lot of time, aside from their chair-side responsibility, there's so much hidden talent. And like I've already said, I want to listen and then find out what those talents are and then just nurture that and just unleash that. That to me is beautiful, collaborative creativity. And when you do that, it's not just your energy every day. It's you and your team energy every day. We all feel present when we're in the office. We all feel accountable to stay true to our core and stay on this journey, because you guys, innovation, that's not a moment. This is a moment. Innovation's a journey. It's hard work, it's arduous. And it just like everything in life, anything worthwhile is hard work. And you know, it's never gonna stop. But again, if you have value in what you do, and you have people who support you in what you're doing, that's beautiful. That's synergy. And that to me is what it's all about. So my team and I create this energy, but I do want to, again, remind you as dentists, as the owners, if you're that person, you're also a leader, and my team expects certain things from me. They rely on me to be able to deliver some things. I need to give them a state-of-the-art office. I need to give them state-of-the-art equipment. I can't expect them to perform if they don't have the right equipment and tools to be able to demonstrate to a patient, this is how your oral health is affecting your overall health. And even if they did, I better have the means and the equipment to be able to deliver whatever it is that patient needs to attain that goal and maintain that goal. So that is my job as their leader. And we work together very hard at that. But the work doesn't just stop here. It's not just about what we do in our office, it's also what we do outside the office. And this is where you get into networking, right? So when you network yourself, it's about finding like-minded people inside and outside of your office that you can share thoughts and experiences with. You know, and for some of us, networking, it comes easy. I mean, you give me a room like this, and I mean, you just can't get me to stop talking. You want to talk dentistry with me or anything else, I'll talk you to the end of days or until you get bored and you go to sleep, okay? But I was talking to a friend of mine, Margie, the other day, and she's a consultant, and she was sharing with me, it is very difficult for her to network. She doesn't like it. As outgoing as she seems, it is an effort for her to get outside of her comfort zone, that bubble, and just connect with a person. She wants to help, but it's hard. So it's not easy for all of us. I want to give you some tips that has worked for me. And you take whatever works for you. I think one of the easiest things and one of the most worthwhile things that I do are study clubs. I mean, I don't know if you guys do any study clubs, but those are my favorite. Why? It's usually a small group of the same people you get to see every month, okay? And if you've never been or you just don't like to reach out, start small. Just, first of all, go early. If someone's speaking, go 30 minutes early, have a drink, chill out, and just start a conversation with somebody, okay? Talk about life. Talk about, do they have kids? Talk about, how is your ride in? Don't just immediately say, how'd you do last month? Okay? That's creepy. You're not going to talk to that person again. But start slow. And then if you get a chance to see them and you connected with them, you see them every month, well, then you get a chance to get to know each other better, right? You get to know each other more, and then you can share a business side of things. You can also do, but with the study clubs, go early, start late. The other thing you can do is go to CE functions, you know, whether they're at home or far away. Those are great opportunities to get to know somebody. Don't just sit with your team or sit next to somebody you know. Get to know somebody else. Chat it up with them during a break or during lunch. If you're away from the home, go out to dinner with them. The people on my phone, my contact list, they are just priceless to me. I can call any one of them and just ask them, hey, you know, what are you doing for this? And if they don't respond or pick up my phone right away, I know I've got them by the end of the day. I don't know if you guys ever use your reps, and I love what Chuck said. Where did you go, Chuck? There you are. That this is all women in dentistry, right? So using your reps, and this is where I want to give a shout out to Kristen Murray. If anybody doesn't know Kristen Murray, you need to know Kristen Murray.
Yeah.
Really, please, thank you. Because I have known her for like 14 years, and she's extraordinary. I won't change from her. Why? Not because she's funny and lovely, which I threw the lovely in, but because she's a wealth of information. She brings lunch to our office a few times a year, tells us, hey, this is new material, this is something I think you should know about. If I want to buy something, Kristen, if back in the day, if she didn't know it, she'd have the person who made the thing at my office. But now she's like, yes, I know about this piece of equipment. Dr. So-and-so has it, and he or she wouldn't mind talking to you about it. That's a huge source that you can use for you to utilize, to learn very quickly. These reps that come into our office, they're like tiny little voyeurs that walk into every office and they get to see everything. Could you imagine the amount of knowledge you'd have if you could spend a day in someone else's office every day? That's huge. I hope you guys are all using your reps. I use mine to death. Your dental labs, same thing. Hey, I want to buy a new scanner. Which ones make the easiest crowns for you? When you network yourself, you gain so much from that. You gain a wealth of information for yourself, and you should share your information with someone else. It's a learning experience. We're all small business owners. It's just helpful. So that's one thing. If you're not doing, there's so many ways to do it. Reach out to other professionals. That's the one other thing. I don't know if it would work for you guys, but with our whole mouth to body connection, we have to reach out to physicians, chiropractors, physical therapists, and that's really hard to reach out to outside your profession, because a lot of people, they don't want to talk, they don't have the time. But when you do that, it also establishes you as an expert in what you're doing to them. And when I'm trying to make somebody well, I'm going to fix these issues, but I can't do everything else. And I want to have people in my pocket that I can refer to and say, hey, this is who's going to help you feel that much better. And I know they've got their back. I'm not going to feel silly sending them there. The last thing, I'm almost done, you guys. The last thing I want to talk about is give back, and this is quite honestly like my favorite food for the soul thing to do. If you guys aren't doing it, there's so many ways to do it, and I just want to give you some ideas. They don't have to cost a lot of money. One of my favorite things that we do in our office is that we do a 5K. The girls pick 2 5Ks every year. It's the charity of their choice. We do one in April, one in October, and I pay for the whole team. We also invite 10 of our patients to join us, and it is a day of spiritual and physical wellness for us. We have a blast doing it. We do things to give back, like candy buyback. We just did that for Halloween, you know, where you get $1 for every pound of candy you bring in, and we ship it to our soldiers abroad, along with toothbrushes and toothbrush paste so we don't rot out their teeth. Although I found out we didn't do the toothbrushes this year, I'm devastated. But it's okay, we'll send them later. There's so many ways you can give back, and what we do is we sit there, you know, food donation, food drives, REITs across America. We sit there once a year and brainstorm again about what it is that we want to do every quarter to give back to the community, Mission to Mercy projects, the clinic. But I want to make sure that whatever we decide on, everybody wants to be a part of it, because giving back has to be something you truly enjoy from the inside. It can't be something that your boss is making you do or you're doing to look good. You have to feel it from the inside, and you have to have the time and resources for it. So, you know, I do want to share this with you. There were definitely times in my life where we didn't have the money to give back the way we do now. And I sure didn't have the time to do it either. But if you don't have the time, this is when you give back, is something that I want for you to never stress you out. It should be something that is just food for your soul, something you completely enjoy doing. It's just a pure moment in your life. It should be never anything negative, not for you or your team. And it doesn't always have to involve your whole team, but it's really nice energy when everybody does it together. giving back is not something that is part of your career have-to list. It's just a human thing to do, and truly food for the soul that, you know, so many people talk about burning out. That's one thing that really keeps me from burning out. It's not always about the money. One of the other things I do is with regards to mentorships. I don't know if you guys read the article, but I go back to my dental school in Richmond twice a month, once or twice a month, whatever I can do with my time. And from door to door, it's a 2-hour drive from my house to the parking deck in Richmond. And then I work 6 hours, and then I drive 2 hours home. And every year they offer me money, and every year I say no, I don't want it. So why? I mean, why? Because that's a beautiful moment. For me to go back to my dental school and walk those grounds without that envelope, that cloud of stress and fear, and where the patients are so happy to see me because I'm not the one that's going to stick them with a needle or hurt them, or I'm not the one taking their money, and then the students are so thrilled that I'm there because I'm there just to teach them tricks and tips for the future, and I'm not grading them. Everyone's just so happy to see me. There's nothing else that can make me feel that high in the sky. And you know what, in that 4 hours of driving, guys, I have 2 boys, a 14-year-old and a 9-year-old and a husband. I never get to listen to what I want to, ever, okay? So for me to listen to what I want or just to nothing at all, that's a quiet Zen moment. You know, there's so many ways you can give back. Mentorship, like Chuck was saying, a lot of the students, they still contact me. Either Facebook calls, I'll take them out to lunch. That's one of the easiest ways that you can also network and give back. Pick somebody younger than you that just started in their career and just tell them what worked for you. If someone had done that for me, I can't imagine the mistakes that I may have not made. That would have been huge, so I love doing that. With that being said, I just want to leave you guys with one of my favorite quotes. It is by LP Jack, modified by P. Marsman. A master in the art of living draws no distinction between her work and her play, her labor and her leisure, her mind and her body, her education and her recreation. She hardly knows which is which. She simply pursues her vision of excellence through whatever she is doing and leaves the others to determine whether she is working or playing. To herself, she always appears to be doing both. Thank you, guys. I hope I get to meet all of you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Marsden. Much appreciated. Thank you very much. Give her another round of applause. So, a big piece of tonight is networking. So we're going to take about a 5-minute break with one request. Everyone should meet someone that they haven't met before. So let's take 5 minutes, meet the person next to you, someone you haven't met before, and then we'll bring it back and hear from Katie. can have your attention. Hello? So if everyone has a card with them that has their name on the back, you should have a card in black. And on the back of your card, you're going to see 4 words that I think are worth discussing for just a second. I am Lucy Hobbs. So someone said to me as we walked in this evening, this is probably the coolest party that there's ever been in dentistry. If that is true, and I hope it is, it's a lot because we are here tonight to celebrate the memory and the legacy of Lucy Hobbs Taylor. So for those of you who aren't that familiar, Lucy Hobbs Taylor was the first woman dentist in America. It took Lucy Hobbs Taylor 4 years and 3 different attempts to get into dental school. Because at the time of the Civil War, American Civil War, when Lucy Hobbs wanted to be a dentist, women were not dentists. They were not allowed to be dentists. Lucy Hobbs Taylor tried to be admitted 3 times to dental school. It took her 4 years. She apprenticed with another dentist in Ohio, finally was admitted as the first woman dentist in America. We are here tonight to celebrate the memory and the legacy of Lucy Hobbs Taylor. And I can think of no one better, in addition to Dr. Marsban, than Katie Myler to talk a little bit about the legacy of what women can do when they put their minds to it. So Katie Myler is the founder and CEO of More Than Me, a leading network in Liberia that works in partnership with the Ministry of Education to rebuild the education system. She was Time Magazine's Person of the Year in 2014 for her efforts on the front lines of Ebola. Katie was also honored among People's 25 Women Changing the World, along with Sheryl Sandberg and Oprah Winfrey. A Nelson Mandela changemaker, Myler is also one of Global Citizen's 17 Badass Women. Yeah. And one of Glamour's 4 inspiring women to follow on Instagram. Before I invite Katie up here, I wanted to let you know that Katie is here at no charge. She's here volunteering her time on behalf of her foundation. And in honor of her being here tonight, the Benko Family Foundation is going to sponsor 2 young girls in Liberia to attend school for a year. So 2 women, 1 year in the school, and Katie's going to explain to you the challenges of educating women in Liberia. So with that, Katie, we are glad to support your effort. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for having me. I can't see everybody, so I have to stand up here because I hello everyone in the back. Can I get a woo woo? You said this was the funnest party ever for dance, so let's turn it up a notch. Thank you for having me. My first job was connecting. I help young girls get off the street and into school in Liberia, West Africa. What does that have to do with teeth and dentistry? Well, my first job that I've ever had was in a dentist's office. So that's what's up. There we go. And I have beautiful teeth, right? Sometimes you go to events and you're like, it's fashion or whatever it is. And I'm like, am I wearing the right thing? That I come here and I'm like, everyone's gonna be judging my teeth, right? You're all doing that. So they just asked me to tell my story. I'm gonna keep it short. I know the night's getting late, and do you know what spoken word poetry is? I'm gonna share a spoken word poem for you all. Anybody here from New Jersey? You always can recognize the Jersey people. We're all rough around the edges a little bit. But I grew up in New Jersey in one of the wealthiest counties in America. The King of Morocco and Arnold Schwarzenegger, Mike Tyson, Whitney Houston. They had estates. Actually, the Forbes family, which is how I got connected to this event, are from the town where I grew up. But my mother was a single mother of 3, and she worked an overnight shift at a Lipton tea factory making minimum wage. So we grew up in Bernardsville, New Jersey on government assistance, and no one believes me, but it's real. You can come meet my mom, she'll tell you. And so my whole life I thought the whole world was really, really wealthy, And everyone had so much money, and they turned 17, and they get a BMW. That's like my perception of like what the world was. And somehow I had got the other end of the stick, where we like had people leaving bags of hefty bags of used clothes, and we'd go to the food bank, and I'm like, God, how could you do this to me? You gave me the raw end of the stick, and I was like mad at God. And then when I was in high school, this youth group was going to Haiti, and they were doing these service project and going to Haiti, and I barely ever left New Jersey. And I'm like, how am I going to afford to leave the country? I mean, you think the first place that you ever leave the country is going to Haiti. But I made a sign, send Katie to Haiti. And I stood outside of grocery stores, and I said, would you help me? Will you help me? And people didn't know what they were doing. They were just like, she's a nice cheerleader. Like, give me $1. And I learned the statistic that 88% of the world lives in developing countries. And that the majority of people that live in developing countries don't have access to their basic human rights, things like healthcare, definitely not dentistry, education, roads, things you wouldn't even think of, like justice systems. The majority of people in these countries are, they don't have those access. And my whole worldview flipped upside down, and I realized I was actually one of the world's wealthiest people. Now, I was the wealthy Burnsville person, these kids were me, but the divide was a lot bigger. And I wanted to do something about it. I felt a sense of responsibility at 17 years old. So long story short is I end up going to college. I get this Bill Clinton Service Award. My guidance counselor convinces me, you're smart enough, you can go. I'm the first person to go to college. I didn't ever heard the word bachelor degree. I didn't know what it meant, nothing. I'm trying to find my way through. I do my internship working with street kids in Bolivia, and my first job out of college was almost like a Peace Corps situation. And they said, you're going to Liberia, West Africa. And truthfully, I'm like, where is that? I had to Google it on a map, which was really, Google, I think Google was just coming out. I'm like, where's it? And you Google Liberia, and if you watch that Vice guide, has anyone seen that Vice guide on Liberia? Or, it's pretty scary. You're like, this is where I'm going. And you learn that there's a 14-year civil war, that people's genitals were cut off and used as necklaces. There's a guy named General Butt Naked, and you see all this stuff online. You're like, where am I headed? And I didn't want to tell my mom. I didn't tell her. And so I filled my bags with peanut butter because I think I'm going on to Survivor. And I had to Liberia at 23. And I also learned that the country, Liberia, was founded by freed American slaves. And actually the guy, this is fun fact for everyone, but especially the Jersey people in the room, the man who started the American Colonization Society that founded Liberia is from New Jersey. Liberia is founded by this guy from the United States, basically, that was trying to help end slavery. So Liberia means liberty. So I get to this country, I get off this plane, everything's so big, and it's beautiful and vibrant and colorful. You see a lot of hope, but you also see a lot of desperation. There was a 14-year civil war. There's bullet holes in the ground. There's orphans on the street. And just to cut the story a little bit short, I end up meeting these kids in the street. And I'm a big kid myself, can you tell? I like to play. And so I'm hanging out with the kids, and we're drawing, donkeys in the sand, and I'm throwing kids in the ocean. And I asked them, if you could have anything in the whole world, what would it be? And over again, can you imagine what they told me? What did they say? We just want to go to school. And truthfully, I didn't really like school growing up. I don't think I appreciated it. I didn't understand it. And I realized that if young girls weren't going to school, that often that they would get sucked into a life of prostitution. And I met a little girl named Abigail at 11 that told me she was forced to give oral sex for clean drinking water. And she asked me to help her go to school, and I couldn't walk away from her. So I helped Abigail go to school. One girl turned to 7, turned to 30. And this is I'll share a poem about Abigail. Should I share the poem about Abigail getting to school? Do you want to hear about a young girl? Yes. Or do you want to hear the poem about riding my bike in New York City? Which one? No, you don't want to hear both. It's too long. Okay, I'll do the Abigail one because it's about next time you have me here. Yes. So we can keep. Yeah. I made it back again. Okay, so this poem I wrote, I came back. So I lived half my life in Liberia for 12 years. The other half, I live in Jersey City. I'm in New York a lot. Raising money and awareness to help these girls get to school. So we're doing this event in someone's backyard, fancy event, beautiful event, and I'm telling the story of Abigail and how she had gone missing. This little girl who was involved in sex work, we helped her go to school and she went missing. And this woman pulls me aside and she said, "Can you soften this story a little bit? It's really hard for us to swallow." And I was angry, so I wrote, you always write the best poems when you're mad. So this poem came out and it's called "She Is My Promise." And it's intense, but I'm not apologizing for that. And there's a happy ending. She is my promise. So I am back on this bathroom floor again. And it's the middle of the night again. And flashes of your face keep me up again. It's you, Abigail. You have stained my soul. Is it a street worker? Is it a sex worker? You tell me, what is the politically correct way to say that my 11-year-old friend Abigail is a war-orphaned prostitute? Yes, this $2 hooker, this child. She opens her legs to men so that she can stay alive, and right now I'm not sure if she's alive, and when I think about her, I don't have the words to describe. My friend Abigail is missing. She is gone. She is nowhere to be found, and when I call her name, nobody knows her. Her community tells me matter-of-factly that she's vanished. Her country shushes me. It's not good for their reputation. My country tells me it's not polite to talk about her. Here she is the blame of a corrupt government in a country that people know nothing about. Here she is just another abstract thought that would never cross someone's mind on a line to purchase a cup of coffee that costs more than she would make selling herself for one day. Here she is just another Facebook cause that people might check they like because it's trendy or because it's easy. She is the bottom of the earth to a world that has been brutal to her, that has beat her up and raped her in ways that people who can read would never be able to pronounce. Now this small child is gone, and I promised her that I would come and find her, and I can't. So I'm up again, on this bathroom floor again, and it's the middle of the night again, and I need to scream her name. Abigail! Where are you? I'm trying to find you. I haven't forgotten you. I am struggling to find words to talk about you. People here are offended by you, disturbed by you. I am too. You keep me up at night, and I hope that you always do. You are my vow, my promise. I'm coming to get you. You're like, should I clap? That's a very sad poem. But the story of Abigail is a real story, and Abigail is my friend, and she fortunately was found, and we were able to find her a special program for her to go through, and the social worker from that program adopted her. But Abigail is the reason, yes, we still pay her school fees. But so More Than Me was founded because I met girls like Abigail. So one girl turned to 7, turned to 30, and this New York City tax attorney was volunteering with doctors or Lawyers Without Borders in Liberia, and she saw what I had all these kids going to school, and that was just my thing I was doing for fun. And I was using social media as a way to tell their story. So before you all leave, whatever thing you have on social media, you got to take your phone out and follow us on either Instagram or Facebook. But through social media, we were telling stories, and people are wiring me money to Liberia. And the tax attorney's like, start an organization and I'll help you. And I remember feeling, I'm not qualified. I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough. I don't have my master's degree. I don't know anybody wealthy. I grew up in this town, but I don't know any of those people. And I can't do it. And I got the best advice of my entire life. My friend said, Katie, get the fuck over yourself. It's not about you. It's not about you. So I played that in my head over and over again. It's not about you. It's not about you. And I named the organization More Than Me. We end up starting the first free all-girls school in Liberia. It becomes the leading school in the country. Then Ebola hit. We fought Ebola for 6 months, ran ambulance services, took in abandoned children, ran home health care teams. Our school nurse hired all her friends from nursing school. We were part of helping end Ebola, like no joke, a small little team. And got named Time Person of the Year and had a huge platform. I don't know if Randall left, but he put me on a stage with Bill Gates. And I remember being on this, and I remember some of the audience goes, how do you prevent the next Ebola epidemic? And of course he said vaccinations, and I said, with all due respect, I disagree. It's actually human capacity, building capacity of people, they'll prevent the next epidemic, but you have to believe and build in them. So now I'm working with the Ministry of Education to rebuild the entire education system. We have a public-private partnership where private organizations like More Than Me are running public schools. We now have 19 schools. Our goal is to get to 500 and ultimately to be self-sustained because the government will pay us. But we raise the money to get the schools up and going, and once they're up and going, they'll be self-sustained by the money we get from the government. Other West African countries are looking to Liberia as a model. But we're not stopping until, I'm finishing up here. We are not going to stop until every single little girl is off the street and into a quality school. And now we have boys too, but I believe that the root cause of the sexual exploitation that Abigail faced and that young girls face comes from the broken systems that are in the country. So we're working and partnering with the country to fix that. It is Giving Tuesday, so if you're looking for a cause, I've got one for you. So it's morethanme.org, and I'm Katie Myler. And then we are doing, to sponsor a school, sponsor a Girls Academy. It costs $1,200 a year. And that's because we provide everything that the girls need. It's a really intense program. In our public schools, you'll see on through social media and stuff, it's $11 a month to help a girl get to school in our public school system. It's like More Than Me Light. So it really would mean a lot to me if you guys would check us out online, morethanme.org. We need your support and help, and if anyone's interested in being more involved, I'm here. So thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. Thank you for everything you do.
Let's give Katie a round of applause. So, just to remind you, So to remind everybody, as Katie pointed out, today is Giving Tuesday. The Benko Family Foundation will be sponsoring 2 young girls at $1,200 each, as Katie mentioned. And hopefully you all will do something similar. The website is morethanme.org, and we will send the link out via email to everyone who's given us their email address and everyone in the Lucy Hobbs network. So with that, thank you very much everyone for attending. We hope to see you in September 2018 in San Francisco. Have a great evening.